Very pleasant morning to all. This is Pooja PS, roll number 24, first MA English Literature. I am here to deal with the topic psychoanalysis. Before moving on to the topic, I would like to introduce you about Sigmund Freud. As you all know, he is a very famous psychoanalyst and he is considered to be the father of psychoanalytic theories. And Sigmund Freud, he was born in the year 1856 and he died in the year 1939, and he was born in Moravia. Then he was shifted to Vienna at the age of 3 years. It is the Austrian capital, and he continued to live and work in Vienna till 82 years old. And in the year 1873, he enrolled himself as a medical student in the University of Vienna, and in 1880s, he became the consulting doctor for psychological disorders. He has published several books regarding the psychoanalytic theory, and in which studies in hysteria, it is considered to be the foundation or the basic material for the development of psychoanalytic theories. Hysteria, it is derived from the Greek root word means hysteron, which means womb. In this book, he has explained about the developmental stages of an infant and his psychology and his human psychology, or the personality, or the human psyche. And in 1899, he published a book in a German titled Die Traumatisierung, and it was later translated into English in 1900 in the title The Interpretation of Dreams. The psychopathology of everyday life, beyond the pleasure principle, the ego and id, civilization and its discontents, Moses and monotheism. These are other famous works of Sigmund Freud. Now let us move on to the topic psychoanalysis. What is psychoanalysis? Psychoanalysis, it studies the unconscious mind. According to Freud, he considers human psyche can be divided into 3 levels. So, human psyche or human mind can be divided into 3 levels. Freud has illustrated a model of human mind. As you see in the image, he illustrated human mind. He considers human mind as a iceberg, in the shape of an iceberg. As you may have seen in the movie Titanic, you could see an iceberg there. Majority of the part is submerged under the ocean. Like that, Freud has illustrated a model of human psyche or human mind. In that majority of the part which is submerged is considered to be the unconscious mind of the humans, and the part which is above the level of water, that is only 1/10 of the human psyche, is considered to be conscious mind according to Freud. And there is a part in between this conscious and unconscious mind. It is known as preconscious or the subconscious mind. He termed it as the subconscious or preconscious mind. And he also categorized human mind into 3 different elements. That is, human personality can be divided further into 3 elements or 3 aspects. That is, id, ego and superego. Id, ego and superego. Let's see what is id, what is ego, and what is superego. Id is considered to be the pleasure principle, or it is a natural impulses of an individual. It is it is considered to be an instinctive behavior, and this behavior can be seen in an individual from his birth onwards. The examples of it are hunger, thirst, sex, or the urge to go to bathroom, etc. The other desires, all these desires comes under this id. And then what is ego? Ego is considered to be the reality principle or the self-awareness or the compromise. It is considered that this ego, it compromises between it and the superego to determine the behavior. That is, it is somewhat a conscious mind. And what is ego? Ego, according to Sigmund Freud, it is the morality principle, the moral principle. What society says that you should do in the situation. What is morally right? That is indicated through this superego. To make it clear, I have given here an illustration. This is an example of what is id, ego and superego. The first thing, the statement is that exams are approaching. So this given situation is exams are approaching to you. So what would be the personality or the mind says to an individual? The id instincts, what it will say, do no revision and socialize with people. That is the id instinction. And what would be the superego say? The superego will say that do nothing but only revision and have no rest or relaxation. You have to completely focus on your studies. But what is the duty of ego? Ego, it will compromises between this id instinct and the superego instinct. That is, ego mind will say that revise with a realistic revision timetable so that the other time you can utilize to socialize with the people. So here this ego, it is creating a dynamic equilibrium between the id instinct and the superego instinct. So it can be considered as the instinctive behavior or the instinctive mind, and it is equated with a bad angel, that is evil angel. And the superego, it is considered to be the morality principle. It is related to the moral uprightness, so it is equated with the good angel. And ego, it compromises between id and superego, and it creates a dynamic equilibrium between this id and the superego. So now let's see how this psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud, it influences the literature or the literary theory. So psychoanalytic criticism. What is psychoanalytic criticism? The psychoanalytic theories or psychoanalytic criticism, it deals about the existence of the unconscious. It says that the existence of the unconscious is central to all the psychoanalytic theories. That is, individuals move through the developmental stages early in life. Sigmund Freud, he has given the developmental stages of an individual, and so the psychoanalytic theories says that the individuals move through developmental stages early in life, and they'll move through many traumas or experiences during the process of the development of their life, developmental stage of their life. And these traumas or these experience, they must have a lasting effect on their personality. These bad experiences or traumas, they will be repressed in their mind. And literary and other cultural texts may have a psychological impact on readers or metapsychological need in them. These so these traumas or experiences during their developmental stages of their life, they will have an lasting effect on the personality of an individual. So how the psychoanalyst or the psychoanalytic critics, how they criticize or analyze a literary work? It is said that the psychoanalytic criticism, they adopts the methods of readings employed by Freud and later theorists to interpret text. So by adopting Freud's and other later theorists literary or the theories, they employ those theories into the literary text. And it argues that literary texts, like dreams, they expresses the secret unconscious desires and anxieties of the author, that a literary work is a manifestation of author's own neurosis. So these psychoanalytic critics, they considers or they see the characters within a literary work. They assume these characters that they are the projections of author's psyche or author's own mind, and the author's own childhood traumas, family life, sexual conflicts, fixations and such will be traceable within the behavior of these characters in literary text. So they are analyzing or criticizing those factors in this literary text. And while analyzing such text, we cannot see the psychological materials of these authors. They are not directly expressed through this literary text. Those psychological materials will be expressed indirectly in a disguised or encoded manner, as in dreams, through certain principles such as it may be through symbolisms, that means the repressed object represented in any kinds of symbols, and through condensation, maybe through condensation, that is several thoughts or ideas or persons may be represented through several images or group of images, and it can also be through displacement, that is the anxieties or the inner repressed ideas may be located onto another image by means of some associations. They associate one thing with the other. While reading in such a point of view, we can analyze or criticize the psychological process or the mind of the author. And to recapitulate, we can say that psychoanalytic criticism, it is similar to new criticism in not concerning itself with what author intended to. This psychoanalytic criticism, it is not concerning with what the author intended to say, but it deals with what author never intended to express, or the author's repressed thoughts or ideas are analyzed or criticized. Thus, we can say that psychoanalytic criticism, in psychoanalytic criticism, the unconscious material has been distorted by censoring the conscious mind. The unconsciousness or the secret unconscious desires and anxieties of the authors, they are distorted by censoring the conscious mind. Thank you.